We have a concentrated week full of planetary transits. In this week's astrology, we'll have 3 days that seem more charged up than usual due to a large amount of alignments that are happening on the 11th, 14th, and 15th. Mars is making a multitude of transits this week, which will lead to taking action on some of our circumstances. And the Sun and Mercury are going to form multiple aspects together, causing us to work on authenticity and our thought processes. And with an interesting week such as this, the vibes on the graph are very colorful. Ambitious vibes are going to last until the 12th and connect with mental, solitude, and a smidge of social energy. The 12th might be a time where our minds are overactive, so we might require some space to ourselves, especially when it comes down to thinking. And considering the solitude is there and solitude is lasting until the 13th, we're going to especially need that time to ourselves to process what's going on in our minds. Thursday through Sunday is going to offer us mental energy, ambitious vibes, and a smidge of romantic tones. Even though these days contain some harsher vibes, we're going to feel motivated to get things done, especially if it comes down to cleaning up our circumstances and situations that really require our attention. Plus, there may be some light flirtation in the air. And also the urge to have a little bit of fun, considering we have one Mars transit that may be hard, but it also offers us an opportunity to let loose. So yeah, what a week. Let's look at these next bunch of days and see what we can expect. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps this channel grow. Also, if you're looking for a natal chart reading or intuitive coaching, the links will be in the description box below. And if you'd like to support the work of this channel, you could do so by buying me a fresh cup of coffee. The link will be in the description box below as well. The 11th is a very concentrated day full of planetary transits, and so we have 5 alignments that may create situations that are edgy and one that can point us in a good direction when it comes down to healing, especially concerning our love lives and financial matters. But one of the first alignments we have going on that Tuesday is Mars making a square with Pluto, and this could really activate built-up tensions that needs to spill over at some point or was bound to spill over at some point. With the edgy energy that we have going on that day and the Mars square Pluto situation, it could be a day where we're feeling more stirred up than typical, and so it makes it easy for us to feel activated. So we might feel more triggered than typical to things that we're very sensitive to, especially due to unresolved issues. Pluto has a way of storing memory, especially with harsh situations, especially things that we've kind of pushed down and we've ignored, the moods and the upset that we might have suppressed for a while. And so some of this stuff can bubble over to the surface with energy like this, with Mars being an activator that causes that situation to come out in an explosive way. So if there has been some stuff that we haven't been dealing with that's been festering, it can really come to the surface, causing us to see why we aren't coping so well with whatever situation that might be for us and why we can't keep going this way. So it could really be a time where we're realizing we're not coping as well as we thought we were, and it's something that we need to resolve. Sometimes this could be not speaking up when we need to. Sometimes this could be about not asserting ourselves and letting a lot of things slide. So this could be a time to really stand in our personal power if we haven't done that and express ourselves more so by asserting ourselves healthily. Another way this can show up with a difficult alignment like this is it can show up as strong emotions, which is anger, pettiness, that then turns into bickering or being confrontational or having power struggles with other people. More so, an energy like this can really rev up situations with dominant types that are trying to control the narrative of a situation because they need to feel powerful and important and like they matter. So this could rev up exchanges with people who throw their weight around. And this is because energy like this really revs up those types of personalities. Also, we could be butting heads with authority, and authority could be things like supervisors, it could be things like managers, it could be anyone who has a little bit of power. So it might be a day where someone is trying to use a bit of leverage over other people and other fear tactics. Due to some of the other energies that pop up with this, we need to be aware of reacting out of compulsion or just compulsive behavior overall. We need to be aware of over-focusing on situations, and by over-focusing, this might rev up obsession in a lot of ways, especially if there's a problem that we haven't been able to resolve or there's a circumstance and situation that we just feel fixated on. And energy like this can really rev up that type of thing. Another thing that also comes up with this in terms of unconstructive behavior is is jealousy and just envious reactions to things. So that's something else that we need to be aware of under this. So try to utilize this energy wisely. One of the great things this does is it does help us take care of shit that needs to be taken care of. It also gives us a lot of energy and some focus that can be constructive, because an energy like this does make us alert and, again, energized. So it might be a good day to take action on research that you planned on looking up, trying to concentrate on hard work that you need to take care of. It could be a day where it's just good to channel this through sweating, so exercise or cleaning your house is wonderful for energy like this. So if possible, if you have the luxury to, try to channel this into the most productive stuff possible. And of course, obviously, if you have stuff that you need to take care of that's been festering for a while, this is the energy to do it. It's just very uncomfortable. So try to do it in the most constructive way possible if you do have the luxury to do so. Continuing with the 11th, Venus is going to make a sextile to Chiron, and hopefully this mitigates some of the other energies going on, because we still have a bunch of Mercury transits leading over into the next 48 hours. Along with another Venus transit that's a bit harsh. But we'll take what we can get with this Venus transit because it helps us take a constructive approach when it comes down to love and finances. Under this influence, we'll feel tempted to balance our need for selflessness. And what that means is we're realizing that we can still be helpful and be there for people without overextending ourselves and the situations coming at a cost to us. Especially with this being Venus here, this has a lot to do with our love lives. This has a lot to do with financial matters. So we may start realizing that we can still be our kind selves without being overly nice and people-pleasing. Also, if that's something that you've been wanting to work on, energy like this can motivate us to finally start putting in the steps needed so that way we're no longer doing that. Because we're ready to stop putting ourselves out in order to win other people over. The good thing about this is a time to be reflective, so we can start looking at where we might have went wrong in terms of trying to gain approval from other people in order to have a romantic relationship. And of course, because this is Venus, this is our close one-on-one relationships as well. It's not always romantic, but in a romantic sense, this can show us where we need to grow and stop putting ourselves in order to receive external validation. That way we're practicing self-respect and realizing our value, so that way we're attracting the right types of relationships and repairing ones that are repairable. Also, this can help us gain clarity when it comes down to our financial situations. One way this can show up is recognizing that we aren't being as valued as we should in our profession, and it's time to start looking at where else we can be in terms of being in a workplace that will finally see us for what we're worth. So this could really teach us the value of going after a prosperous and fulfilling career with a nice work culture to it. And something else we need to be aware of, Venus is going to connect with Uranus in a way that can bring on erratic behavior. So we need to be aware of that, because even though we have this nice Chiron alignment and we're realizing that we need to make changes to love life situations, our one-on-one relationships, and anything to do with our financials, this Uranus situation could rev up the need to do something impulsive. So we will really need to ground ourselves when it comes to our love lives, our careers, our social lives, and anything to do with money. Circling back to the 11th, we have a few Mercury transits that can really rev up some situations that may be unconstructive. So here's the thing. Mercury is going to connect to Mars and Pluto in a harsh way, and we already have that Mars-Pluto square. We're going to really feel that for the next bunch of days. Mars and Pluto are slow-moving planets, so give or take, it's really going to bring some edge to the air in terms of this week, so we might be feeling that over the next 5 days. And to add insult to injury, Mercury's connecting with both of those planets in a very uncomfortable way. So we'll need to really watch our mouths, because these types of connections can have us either overthinking and then saying the wrong thing, or just being so edgy that we say rude shit to people. The Mars situation brings out argumentativeness. So does the Pluto situation. However, the Pluto situation can be scenarios where we're dealing with individuals who just overwhelm us because they're talking at us. So these energies combined can really bring out the asshole in a lot of people. And then, continuing with the Mercury situations, Mercury is going to make a square to Saturn, and so that can further rev up the very uncomfortable thoughts that are going on and conversations. So we go from nasty to minimizing, which can also be considered nasty when people are minimizing your feelings or just in conversation overall diminishing you in some sort of way, which Mercury-Saturn situations tend to do that. Saturn is a constrictor, so combined with Mercury, communication tends to take on a very cold tone to it. On top of that, this can be an overthinking or gloomy tone, since Saturn and Mercury combined tend to cause us to focus on things that aren't exactly happy-go-lucky. So one of the ways this can manifest is we may feel constrained regarding communication and overall our thought patterns, which in turn is going to cause us to want some space to ourselves because we're just not feeling in the mood to communicate with people. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes we're so preoccupied with our own thoughts and things that we have going on that we just don't have room for socializing, and we need that space and time to sort shit out. With constrictive energy like this, we may shut down a bit and just feel numb overall. And also with the nature of Mercury and Saturn, it can have us thinking harshly. It could have us dealing with toxic, negative inner dialogue. We could be focusing on wrongdoings from the past or overthinking something someone said. And it's very easy for that type of stuff to surface with that Mars-Pluto situation that we have going on. So this is very harsh energy indeed. And it's going to be a time where one of the best things to do is just try to be mindful and catch yourself when possible. Also, looking at better coping strategies when it comes down to soothing negative inner dialogue or a fixed mindset, and also understanding why you might be prone to shutting down and just going numb. Circling back to the 13th, we have more of that concentrated energy going on with connections from the Sun, Mercury, Chiron, and Uranus. And some of this could lead to unexpected mental clarity. We have two favorable energies with the Sun making a conjunction with Mercury and the Sun connecting with Chiron in a very harmonious way. And we're going to need that because we also have some mixed bag stuff going on by the time we get to the 14th. So over this period, the Sun and Mercury will align in a conjunction, which is also known as a Cazimi. And this is a special alignment when a planet is at the heart of the Sun. So what this does is it gives it a nice power up. It gives it an additional boost and brings out the most favorable qualities of the energy. With the Sun-Chiron situation, it could be a time where we're realizing we need to boost our confidence. It could be a time where we're realizing we need to stand in our authenticity. It can also be a time where we're realizing that we need to stop fading to the background and build up our confidence so that way we can stand out for what we want to accomplish. And this could be any type of goals we have, whether that be creativity and other talents that we possess. This could lead to a healing era where we really do put ourselves out there and go for the gold when it comes down to anything we're trying to achieve. And while this is happening, the cool thing is Mercury's in that Cazimi with the Sun, and this can offer us mental clarity, but also the urge to adopt a better mindset. And this is coming as a relief considering all the harsh Mercury transits that we've gotten over the last bunch of days, especially that Mercury-Saturn situation. After that, we're really needing the Sun-Chiron and the Sun-Mercury situation to pep us up because energy like that could be pretty brutal. And so this may help us look on the bright side of things with these energies. And also, it could help us feel open again. It could help us feel like we're regaining our sense of self back. It could help us in terms of expressing ourselves without feeling weird or uncomfortable or shut down. And with this Cazimi, Mercury is also connected to Chiron as well. So this can really help us enhance our minds. And also, one of the other cool things is this may help us mend fences with others, especially if there was any strife starting, the beginning of the week over the last couple of days with some of those harsher energies. This could be really helpful for just making things better with someone and just making nice with someone. But on Saturday, we have the Sun and Mercury connecting to Uranus in a way that may shift things. I'm hoping that Sun-Mercury-Chiron situation really helps mitigate things because with the Uranus situation, we can feel like things are not going the right way. Things are pivoting in an unexpected direction than we intended. There tends to be erratic behavior with communication with energy like this where it suddenly doesn't go the way we want, or we can experience nervous energy. We could feel like our confidence is unexpectedly shaky. So Saturday can really have an erratic tone due to this. Also, the 14th brings in a Mars semi-square with Saturn, so we've got more Saturnian stuff that's occurring that can feel really uncomfortable. With the stuff going on with Mars and Saturn, we will have to be aware of trying to get our way or needing things on our own terms or rushing other people into decisions that they may not feel comfortable with because we just want what we want now. So energy like this tends to bring out the bratty side in people. It tends to bring out the pushy side in people. And that never works, but that really doesn't work when you have a Mars-Saturn transit. So we may be rushing something that we need to hold off on and wait, and this could lead to a situation where either the date of what we're expecting gets pushed back due to us trying to rush something, or overall it'll just backfire. That's also a backfire situation when you're waiting for something at a specific time and it doesn't come because you pushed your luck. So that can come about with energy like this. And it can feel very constraining on that day, causing you to feel like you might be on pins and needles and jumping out your skin just because you're wanting to get what you want. Also, we need to be aware of being rude under this energy. An energy like this can rev up tempers and being cold and saying rude shit. So we need to be mindful of lashing out, especially if we're feeling limited, but also just because this combo tends to rev up situations where people say really biting things. Then on the 15th, opposite to this Mars-Saturn situation, Mars is connecting with Jupiter, and even though this is a harsh alignment, I have to say, kind of thankful for it at the end of the week. It does come with stuff, and it does come with uncomfortable stuff because Jupiter is an expander and Mars has a lot to do with our temper. So more temperamental stuff that's going on and will be in the air. So this can bring about a confrontational energy. Anytime I see Mars-Jupiter hard transits, I always say it's very much bar fight energy. It's very much going overboard and being a knucklehead and drinking too much and then just being the biggest jerk on the planet. It's also reckless fun. So if you're careful with that recklessness, you could really have a good time because this really revs up the urge for doing exhilarating things and going on an adventure and just socializing and doing the most when it comes down to romance. We saw a little bit of romance because of something else that's coming up in the beginning of next week, but this is also one of those energies where if you really wanted some bedroom antics sort of fun, it's a great energy. Just be careful. And I say that more so because this tends to rev up risky behavior, and it also revs up drives, sex drives, and things like that. And so that type of stuff combined can lead to just stupidity. So try to be careful with that type of energy. So yeah, what a week. It is definitely edgy for sure. It is a weird week, but also a week where tempers may flare up easy and people might be excessively unbearable to deal with energies like this. So truly try to ground yourselves. Hopefully we're feeling more of that Chiron energy with the Sun and Mercury and Venus Chiron, and healing some of these behaviors that really hold us back in our lives. Anyway, I hope you guys have the most constructive week ever and the best week ever. Later, and see you in the next episode.